What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. So I've got an install commission I'd like to go over today in a little bit of detail. This did take a custom threaded chassis. The hilt has also been modified, so I want to talk a little bit about what has been done to the outside of the hilt as well as the chassis solution that I dreamed up for this particular install. So this is a hilt it's a build from the Mining Colony. Now, the Mining Colony, or Outer Rim Outpost, I think might be their Facebook group page. They make and machine custom modular parts. Something a la, like, think of something like the Custom Saber Shop, but a little bit smaller of an operation. And to me, more unique parts. So Custom Saber Shop is great for just generic, like tubes and there's some other offerings that are unique. But as far as the Mining Colony goes, I love their modular parts. They have not been available for a little while now. However, I did see a post that was made a number of months ago by the Mining Colony saying that modular parts are going to be offered again soon. So they're really, really fantastic. I love the look of all of the parts that Mining Colony offers. So I want to talk about what was done to this particular hilt, and I also have some other examples of Mining Colony builds here too that I'd like to showcase and show off. This hilt was sent to a gentleman by the name of Frank Starkiller on Facebook for external mods. So the client sent this hilt to Frank to do some mods, and then it was sent to me for an install. I really, really dig what Frank did to the outside of this hilt. It looks super unique. I mean, I'll show it. We'll show it right now. I mean, I'll show it to you. This is the hilt in question. I really, really dig that brass on gunmetal two-tone look, right? Really, really cool hilt. So the thing about Mining Colony hilts that I have experienced, they offer a threaded Delrin chassis. Actually, I think I have one. Right, so I still have mine. So they offer a threaded Delrin chassis that screws into the upper part of the hilt. Really, really simple, very sturdy chassis. So when I did my personal Mining Colony build a while back, I wanted to figure out a way to make a removable chassis that also threads. Again, this is another example of Tim doing something that is completely unnecessary. I mean, I probably could have gotten away with either a static chassis or something else, but I wanted to try my hand at creating a threaded chassis. So that is what I did on my personal Mining Colony build install. So that is what I did with this particular install as well. So it's generally the same chassis design with different greeblies, and I also was able to tweak those threads. So I had to find the right thread pitch, obviously, right? So you don't want uneven threads or loose threads marrying into one another. So finding the right thread pitch took me a little bit of dialing in, but I figured it out, and it's great. I really, really dig having a threaded chassis, even though it's not really that necessary, right? So anyhow, let's come up top and we'll talk about some Mining Colony hilts, right? So these are all Mining Colony builds, or they incorporate Mining Colony parts. This is my personal. This is one I did a while back. It's just a bare Mining Colony build that I added some extra components to, right? So I added these two brass bars, aluminum black, and sealed the knurled grip. I added a Canon X switch mount assembly. This was the perfect inner diameter to slide over this. I really, really love the look of a Canon X mount or switch box assembly. They're hard to come by. But I really, really love the way this looked. I based this off of a user on Reddit. Joss was his name, or is his name. I really, really love, he did something very similar to his personal. I loved the look of that. So that's what I wanted to replicate, but not copy exactly, right? So yeah, great, great hilt. So this was my first experience with Mining Colony. parts, and I really, really like them. This is actually Frank Starkiller's personal mining colony build. I believe this is a space junk build that Frank had in his possession that he sent to me for an install, right? Another really, really beautiful, beautiful build by Nevin at Space Junk Sabers. I dig that we've got a knurled section up here. I mean, they're just, the parts are really unique and cool, right? So this is the hilt that was installed. So I believe that Frank Starkiller powder coated this in gunmetal and also added these brass accents. I don't know if you can tell on camera. All of this etching, to me it looks like all of this was done by hand, probably with a Dremel. Right? Really intricate work. It's not easy to get stuff asymmetrical like this. Not easy. I know that because I've tried. So yeah, we've got just all nice, brass accents. They're thick, so it gives a lot more heft and weight to the hilt, something that I appreciate. We've got some really cool copper wiring on the side. So yeah, just a really, really nice, unique build. I really, really dig it, right? So let's talk about the chassis really quick. Actually, why don't we come into Fusion? So here is the chassis that I did for this particular build. Very, very similar to the previous mining colony install that I did on my personal, but there are different there's different greebly work on this one. I also added some arbash to the top of the threaded section, and this window down here is different as well. So I printed off this whole chassis in clear translucent resin. Then I taped off this grill section, did a couple of passes with Tamiya matte black, removed my tape, and then did a pass of rub and buff. Underneath this window, there is a channel for a 2020 NeoPixel strip. So, the chassis being clear translucent resin, it shines through that section really, really nicely. So that's pretty much it. Nice and quick. We've got a 28mm speaker down here. There is a kill switch up top. Proffieboard sits in here and slides up underneath a tray. There's plenty of room to get at your SD card and USB port if need be. Around back, we've got our battery tray. And again, up top, there's that threaded connector, right? So let's come back up top and I'll talk about how to use this guy. So this is a threaded grip, obviously. So here's the threads on the inside. So we've not only got threads where the grip screws in, obviously, but on the inside are where the threads are. This is where, the chassis that Mining Colony offers, that's where that would screw into the hilt, okay? So what I ended up doing was putting those threads on the chassis that I designed, right? So I had to figure out what the thread pitch was on this guy and essentially just replicate it and add threads in Fusion. Another thing that I love about Fusion, really, really simple to add threads just so long as you've got the right thread pitch, right? So let's talk about how to use this guy. Here's the chassis. Spring side is your negative. You want to put the flat part of the battery down towards the speaker, hit your kill switch. So there's that translucent window with NeoPixels behind it. And it does have its own animation. So this is its own blade in the config, okay? So anyhow, once you get your battery in, you can thread the chassis into the upper part of the hilt. And you just want to screw that in until it stops. Don't over crank it. These are resin threads, so you don't want to over crank. So I did mention I did a pass of rub and buff. I did add some other pops of color here. I like doing this on chassis just to make it a little bit more unique, to make it look a little prettier, right? So that's it. So once you've got your battery in and the chassis is threaded in, you're good to go. So let's come down to the bottom here. Once your chassis is screwed in, you want to screw your grip on. Another thing I love about these Mining Colony parts, the threads are so clean, so clean. Yeah, really, really cool hilt. So twist to activate, twist to deactivate, let's put a blade in it really quick and do a demo. So this is a 1-inch blade holder. So you get your blade rested on those PCB pins. There is a brass knurled thumb screw here that will serve as your blade retention. So you screw that in. You're good to go. Really, really nice. Let's see what else we've got on here.
What is it? Father's light saber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight.
So the top button on this build, the top button is your activation. Bottom button is your aux. See what else we got.
I'm Cal Kestis.
So some of these blade styles.
The NASA team is ready for launch.
Some of these blade styles I have set up with color wheel. So to access the color wheel, you want to hold down aux and tap main. And then twister blade, when you find a color you like, hit main again, and it'll lock that color in. One more.
Hello, Zuko here.
So that's it. A nice quick rundown on an install on a mining colony custom hilt. Again, I'm a big fan of the mining colony modular parts. I'm looking forward to them offering them again. I'm curious to see what people are going to come up with as far as custom builds go. So love the hilt. It was good to revisit again. Now I've got another one to do shortly here. So a lot of fun, a lot of fun. So to the client, thank you very much for trusting me with your build. Thank you for the patience. To the viewers, thank you everyone for watching. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Later, everybody.